as we're getting ready here for the First Responder Classic for the bragging rights of between CPD and CFD. Sorry, folks.
All right, we're home team, boys.
I gotta take a look. So the Chicago Fire Department will be the visitors. CPD is going to be the home team. So we are live from Armour Square Park. So we'll get to the lineups here in a second, as we had a little delay due to the fact that umpire was a little late getting here. So we're going to be starting in a second. So we got out pretty early. Sorry for the dead air. We helped them set up here a little bit. And we are, like I said, live in the shadow of Guaranteed Rate Feild. So again, these are the people that do so much for us as they protect us and allow us to try to go about our daily lives here in the city of Chicago. And there's a little bit of a rivalry. They just had a baseball game right here at Guaranteed Rate, and it was CPD that won that game. So you know the fire department is going to be looking for a little bit of payback, and we're going to try to do a multicam shoot for you. It should be pretty nice. And again, George Bliss is running around here. I'm having a little trouble as it's a little windy out here at Armour Square. So leading off for the Chicago Fire Department is going to be Michael Angie. You see him setting up in there. Excuse me, it shouldn't be Michael Angie. It should be Brian Korenkowski. Then it'll be Michael Angie, Connolly, and Jones. So they didn't really give us first and last names, so bear with us. And this should be a fun one. SSA donated a trophy, and FOP president on the hill, John Catanzara, also had a kind of like a gag trophy. It says the First Responder Classic, and it's like a big hot dog. So very clever. So again, I'm still having trouble pinning this to my sheet here. And leading off, Brian Korenkowski. Of course, Brian plays a lot of major softball. I got sheets flying all over, folks. And he's actually won an MVP at the Forest Park No Glove and at the Papa Hops. So Brian gets around. Good player, also runs a charity event here in this ballpark in memory of a friend of his. And Chippy leads off with a hard line drive base hit, takes the turn. So leadoff man on and brings up Michael Angie. Of course, Mike also plays for Chicago Dynasty. Mike, a terrific player, one of the best all-around players we have. Mike spent a lot of time at third base for Chicago Dynasty, but with Joey Agardo, who you might have seen on the stream, who was a co-MVP, moving on to flashback, and Mike swings, he tries to go deep. That ball is up in the air, and that's a ground rule double. So they put a small fence here. The idea being to get a couple of home runs. Mike just tried to hit it up in the air. There is a slight breeze blowing out, more so toward right than toward left. And he was trying to get it up there in the wind, hoping that it was going to carry for him a little bit. So second and third here, and there is nobody out, and that's going to bring up Johnny Connolly. And he swings and tries to walk the dog, but it's going to drift foul. And it's always interesting. Now, we did show a little bit of last year, Joey Agardo, Frank Genkiel. They actually ran a tournament in Hiawatha, first responder tournament. And that tournament was a lot of fun. So we actually saw the Blue Knights and some of these CPD guys. Meanwhile, Brian Koronkowski scores on the fly ball, first run of the ball game. So we are doing a multicam. I got to log into my Facebook account here and see if it's tracking. And there's a swing and a ground ball foul down the third base line. So Jones is a little quick on the swing. And I do have my Facebook up, so I will be able to answer comments now, folks. So 1 out. There's a swing and a ground ball. John knocks it down, can't recover in time. Alonji scores 2-0 CFD. Early lead here, just underway at Armour Square Park, live. So that's going to bring up first baseman Knight. Shortstop on deck. So very early lead here, runner on also. And there's a hard ground ball. Nice play by the short center. Steps on it, throw to first. In time, double play. And that's going to get CPD out of a little bit of a jam there. But they do push a pair across, 2-0. And I'm sure it feels good for the fire department squad after they got beat the other night. And we'll go take a trip down here. See, George Bliss got a lot of things going on here. And there's George Bliss doing yeoman's work on the switcher. You see they got trophies galore here to give out. And very early 2-0 lead for the Chicago Fire Department. So I'm going to check my lineup card with George. And here we go. So here we go. Wilkie, Bacina, and McCann. Of course, we saw McCann yesterday, I believe, out in Mount Greenwood, or excuse me, Kennedy Park, for the championship game that we did. So here's Wilkie, the right fielder, leading off. And there's a little ground ball, snagged by Scamacci, throws across for out number 1. Now, Joey Scamacci has played on a few teams, Brick, Signature, and others. Joey, short center by trade, playing third base today, made that look easy. And here's Bacina. And he takes that pitch. So I'm glad you're all tuning in. Always support your first responders, and they're a decent little crowd checking it out, of course, talking with these guys and being first responders. And with Lollapalooza in town, both teams were stating that they had a couple of guys that, you know, were either going to be tied up. And there's a 1-out walk. So Bacina's on, brings up McCann. Beautiful day here. Again, people don't realize when you're by guaranteed rate, we're actually not that far from the lake. So we are getting a little breeze. 2-0, bottom of the first. Chicago Fire Department leading Chicago Police in this first responder classic. And there's a swing and a line drive in front of Koronkowski. He gets on it quick now. He throws behind, and diving back into the bag is Bacina. He almost got a little bit out over his skis, but he makes it back. So that's going to bring up White, the left fielder. 1 on, or 2 on, excuse me, 1 out here. And here's White. He hits a line drive past the shortstop. 1 run is going to score. Ball was hit too hard. Koronkowski got it in a hurry. It'll remain first and second. 1 out, 1 in now. As CPD's cut the lead in half. Brings up the third baseman, Hank. Again, if you see a first responder, folks, give them a little tip of the hat and thank them. These guys are under a tremendous amount of stress. And there's a line drive up the alley. 1 run is in. Here comes the 3rd run of the inning. He's hustling. He's going to make it into 3rd. Stand-up triple. Hit a hard line drive into the alley, got past the right fielder, went all the way to the temporary fence, and that's a 2-run triple for Hank. Brings up Bojan. Still only 1 out, 3 runs in now, as CPD's flipped the script and taken the lead. And I tell you, the fencing out here is about 250. But in some places it could be shorter. Nice play by the shortstop. Little whirling. Now he gets him into a rundown high throw, and he scores. So Hank got out a little bit too high. They did get the out at first for out number 2, but the 4th run of the inning does score. So that's going to bring up Sweeney. And he swings. High fly ball, doesn't have the distance. Koronkowski puts it away. Hey, David, that was Sweeney? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So 4 runs in the inning. And I got to tell you, CPD hit the ball pretty hard. And again, for that only being a 255-foot fence, Hank really was flying. And I tell you, up close, he looks like a linebacker, not a guy who was playing 3rd base. And, of course, he made a nice play in the 1st inning. So trailing by 2 now, top of the 2nd. We're going to have the CFD team with how do you pronounce his name? Guy? Okay. That's easy. Nice. I asked the kid how to pronounce the last name. He says just call him Guy. So Guy's in the box with Joe Scamacci on deck. And then Yapchek. And there's a ground ball, and it scoots past Hank into the outfield. Leadoff man on. So here comes CFD, and they're going to try to get after it now. Of course, Joe Scamacci played on a SSA Gold Rush Gaming Men's Major National Championship team with Signature during the COVID year when we were out in Highland, Indiana. Joe, very pleasant kid. Of course, Joey Casa plays with Brian Koronkowski on the circus team, one of our better major teams. Joey out here with his hot dog cart, more than dogs. You can find him most nights when the White Sox are playing. Also did the food for the SSA Midsummer Classic. So here's Scamacci now. and he walks. So the first two hitters reach on a ground ball error and a walk, nobody out, brings up Angelo. And when you're nursing a 2-run lead, you certainly don't want to walk anybody, as that's just asking for trouble. So we are doing a multi-stream. Kind of trying to get that ready. We're going to be doing more of that hopefully in the future. And it's kind of interesting because I got 2 cameras on my monopod. One of them is what you see when George Bliss clicks to my feed. The other one is the regular Facebook feed. So I can kind of track what camera George is showing. So there's a swing and a high fly ball. Right fielder gives a little ground, makes the catch, throw in the tag, and Scamacci will get in standing up. Looks like that right fielder's left-handed. And when he made the throw, it was a little bit of a screwball. So that's the first out of the inning. As Yapchek flies out, productive out, he moved both runners. And that's going to bring up Mike Cannon. I think his first name is Mike. There's a little ground ball, and that's a fair ball. That might have hit the bag. We're all tied up, and they hold it. Now they're going to throw it to third. That ball might have scraped first base, and all of a sudden it's 4-4 here. So it is Mike Cannon. Brings up Jans. Could be Johns, but that looks like an A. So it's Jans, the catcher. 4-4 game, top of the second. This is for 16-inch bragging rights between Chicago Fire Department and the Chicago Police Department. So we're very happy that they're allowing us to come out and do the live stream for the ball game. Runner on second here, 1 out. And, of course, the Slow Pitch Softball Association, our media rights sponsor, is, of course, Gold Rush Gaming. And Jans puts a charge into it. Right fielder does make the catch as he gave ground and actually ended up making a basket catch about waist high. So there you go. That's going to bring up Mike Kelly, who's a fireman and, I believe, an alderman. So Chicago Fire Department, just foul, has reclaimed the lead at 5-4. Actually, I take that back. I believe we are, I want to say 4-4. We'll get that straightened out. Little ground ball by Kelly. Shortstop comes in and makes the play. So it is a tie game, 4-4. I gave him a little extra credit for a run they didn't score. But that's the kind of guy I am. I just like these first responders. So we head to the bottom of the second, 4-4 ball game. It's going to be Angelo McKensley could be, that's tough handwriting, and then Collins. So we'll ask Dave. Dave, you're my official name guy. How do you say the short center's name there? I think it's McKendry. Okay.
Angelo McKendry, and then what do you got on there? Mickey Collins, Johnny Kinnisera.
There you go. So I hope you guys could pick that up. But leading off is going to be Angelo. And there's a little overhand chop, and Brian Koronkowski makes the catch. course, Brian, quick as a hiccup, he got there in a hurry. And usually with guys like Brian Korenkowski, they have a tendency to have lightning quick first steps. And so what happens is they tend to get phenomenal jumps on balls. So here's McKendry. So we've only played an inning and a half, and we've had 8 runs. And that's a line drive, and the humpbacks it in front of Brian Korenkowski for a 2-out hit. And that's going to bring up the first baseman, Collins. Takes that pitch inside. Takes that pitch. So again, we saw a walk in the top of the second, got CPD into a little trouble, and that pitch is deep. And now if you're the fire department and there's a strike, hitter didn't like it. He thought it was outside. And now he swings ground ball. I think Kelly did get a fingertip on it, slowed it down enough. Nice job there by the shortstop. Guy, as he made the play, turned it into a double play. So because of the double play, CPD goes only 3 hitters. So the Chicago Fire team, at the top of their lineup with Brian Korenkowski, he led the game off with a line drive into left field for a base hit, scored the first run of the ball game. And Chicago Fire Department went out and they got pretty sharp uniforms. We've got to put them on the fashion alert, these guys. So they got matching shorts. And here's Brian Korenkowski. Of course, Brian, there's a little spinner. He fooled me as he was spinning out there. Looked like he was just going to try to do a sweep flip. And he just got it a little bit off the end of the bat. And now he just goes ahead and he overhands with the hard chop toward left center. So Chippy is he's a tough guy to get out because he's got a soft cut, and then he's got that hard over the top cut, and if you cheat him, he'll go big on you. So here's Michael Angie. Mike takes a strike. And there's a long one into right center, way back, and that ball's going to be a ground rule double. Second ground rule double for Michael Angie. Michael hit it right on the screws, didn't quite elevate it, but it was pretty obvious right off the bat nobody was going to get to it. So Michael Angie, 2 for 2, 2 doubles. So the 1-2 punch of Michael Angie and Brian Korenkowski so far been a little bit of a problem for CPD. And that's going to bring up Connolly. Takes that pitch a little inside. And that's deep. And John Catanzara, home plate, has been jumping around just a little bit. And, you know, it's an interesting dynamic. A lot of 16-inch softball players don't like to hit with 2 strikes. So when you're pitching from behind, they'll be patient. If you jump ahead early, you'll be amazed at the pitches they'll swing at. But John's been getting behind a little bit, and as a result of that, CFD is just taking some pitches. And I made the comment last night on the live stream, sometimes you don't know if a guy can throw strikes until you take a few. And there's a high fly ball, and it falls. Base hit. 2 runs are going to score. And CFD takes the lead back 6-4. So Jones flipped it out into right center. First it looked like it might get caught, but it ended up dropping. 2 runs in now, first and second. And again, that's what happens when you work from behind. And John's still trying to find his rhythm. And there's a line drive, almost tipped over, short right field. And there's another run. So that was a bullet right there by Knight. Brings up Guy. 3rd run of the inning scores. Short center. Got a hand on it, McKendry. The ball was heading towards Sweeney, but he couldn't grab it. Allowed another run to score. 3 runs in this inning. 7-4. Fire. Scamacci on deck, and there's a high fly ball. Kind of shallow. He tags, he'll score no throw, and it's an 8-4 ball game. 4 runs in for the Chicago Fire Department. That'll bring up Joe Scamacci. So 4-run outburst here by the Chicago Fire Department. Fully expect that CPD will make a run at this thing. But right now, the fire department hitting the ball very well. So here's Joe Scamacci, excuse me. Yapchuk on deck. And I briefly managed Brick when Joe Scamacci was on that team. Just a wonderful kid. And there's a swing, little short flare. That's a long run. Center fielder ran a long way for that, but Pacina got there for out number 2. Runner on first could not tag. He had to wait to see what was happening, and that brings up Yapchuk. So even though it's 250, we haven't seen anybody go yard yet. And the crowd's kind of building in a little bit down that first base line. I would assume as people have been getting out of work, coming out. Got a couple of members of the Chicago Fire Department catching a couple of innings over there. And it looks like a lot of the Chicago Fire Department fans are camped out just over the fence. And that ball's going to be foul. Couple of fans scattered by that. So 2 strikes now for Yapchuk. So now he's in a position, he needs to put it in play. That pitch was a little deep. So 4-run outburst here. And there's a little cut job. That's going to fall. 2 outs. They're going to hold him at third as they throw it in. Yapchuk with 2 strikes. Threw a soft cut into short right field. Runners on the corner now for Cannon. 4 runs in, 2 outs, runners on the corner here. So we're in the top of the 3rd inning. So we've seen a lot of action so far. And think when Dave Tenza comes out here, we're going to show you the, and that's a towering fly ball into right, and that's going to be the third out. Center fielder took care of it, but in the inning, 4 runs. Should be 8-4 Chicago Fire as they throw up a 4 spot. And there's my guy, Chip. He played on Mudville. So Cannon makes the third out as we head to the bottom of the third. So just for gags, to show this, hold on, let me see. So you got the front of the shirt, very respectful. Well, maybe not so much. It says CPD, Chicago's real first responders. So, and here's the fearless leader of FOP7, John Catanzara, and John was showing us those shirts. He was kind of chuckling. So these guys, they do have a sense of humor, and sometimes it's the only way you can cope with the stress of the job. And John rifles a hit up the middle. So the leadoff man on, that was a pretty good-looking swing there as he just swung with a little malice there and rifled a hit. And they're back to the top with Wilkerson. And there's a ground ball to the shortstop, over to Alonji. The shortstop really didn't catch that ball. Guy more like it hit him and it just deflected right to Alonji. You saw how quick Alonji's hands were as he turned that double play, but umpire called Wilkerson safe and brings up Pacina. CFD didn't like the call. And now he goes the other way toward left center. Brian Koronkowski, quick catch and throw. No opportunity to tag, and it brings up McCann. So CPD now, still got time, but you don't want to let the Chicago Fire Department run out on you. As right now, they've pretty much got everything going their way. And there's a swing and a long one, way foul out of play. As you can see down there, we got a grouping of fans, and they're also littered really all the way around the ballpark. There are people standing. We got people in the back, in the bleachers behind, and of course down that line. So I did see Tony Valdez here earlier, also a circus member and a teammate of Brian Koronkowski's and Joey Casa. There's a ground ball to short. He thought about second, long throw, not in time. So the shortstop went deep into the hole. Guy, he looked like he was going to throw to second, changed his mind, and that little hesitation was all that it took. So here comes White, the left fielder, with Hank, who hit that ringing triple his last time on deck. So 2 outs, 2 on. You never like to say this early that it's a critical at-bat, but realistically down 4. And there's a swing and a fly ball. Brian Koronkowski, couple of steps back, and he puts it away. Right size, wrong shape, as Hawk used to say. And Brian Koronkowski, relatively early, easy play. So we're going to head to the 4th. 8-4, Chicago Fire. Johns, Kelly, and Brian Koronkowski coming up for the Chicago Fire Department. And they've been relentless. They got 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 4 in the third for their 8. CPD got 4 in the first, and they've now gone dry for 2 innings. I see one of our board members, Mickey Balestri, talking with Dave Tenza. Of course, that's a name that goes back. Dave Tenza, of course, managed Binge. And Jan swings, and that's going to be foul. And that had the distance, but it was foul by about 6 feet. So Dave Tenza, of course, managed Binge when they won a Class A national championship way back in the day. And then that team had a couple of different itinerations as the years went by. He was a longtime manager. Of course, Dave Tenza's father, JT, here's Jans, was a longtime third base coach for Flashback, including when I was there. So, Tenza family roots in the game, and there's a nice play. Nice job there. John Cantanzara got a hand on it. The short center didn't give up on it. Tracked the ball, and McKendry, off the tip drill, makes the catch. So that's the first out. Now it looks like a pinch hitter for Kelly, as Chicago Fire needs to get going. And that ball, he yanks it down the line fair. And he's going to get a stand-up double. So the pinch hitter comes through as he hit a line drive. White couldn't get to it as he yanked it fair about 5 feet down that left field line. And here comes trouble, the top of the Chicago Fire Department lineup, which has been swinging it pretty good. So again, afterwards, I believe many of the people might be, and there's that, he tried it his last at-bat. So he was trying to walk the dog down the left field line with a little bit of a sweep. And again, for you kids at home, when that barrel, and now he just soft cuts one, and that's foul. When that barrel, when you're trying to go the other way with that little flip, if your barrel of the bat is pointing straight down, you're always going to have trouble keeping that ball fair unless you really start it over the second baseman's head almost. So here's Brian, and he tried to do what he did last time, which was go into left center field. He hit it a little too fat, and the left fielder, White, kind of came in. Brian kind of raised those hands and made that pretty obvious, and he flies out. So here's Alonji. He's got 2 doubles, and they were both rockets. CFD leading CPD. And that pitch is inside. And Mike so you can see this time up after hitting 2 doubles, John being very careful with him. And Mike swings, and he gets his 3rd hit into the gap. That's going to score run 9. Mike with the big turn. And then he started sliding. Longy 3 for 3, and they're all missiles. 9-4. There's not much you can do. John's trying to pull out every trick he knows. But Mike Alonji, one of the best 16-inch players in the country, is just a very difficult out. So here comes Connolly, and there's a little flare foul. As they've added another run here. It's now 9-4. And there's a line drive base hit. Alonji hustling into third, and they were going to wave him, but Mike shut it down. Mike's looking at him like, what are you doing? So runners on the corner now. 2 outs. Brings up Jones. And Jones swings and he hammers it, and that drops in front of White. 1 more run scores. It's now a 10-4 ball game. And I got to tell you, there's nothing cheap about these runs that CFD has scored, as they are just swinging the bats. So here's Knight. I mean, sometimes, and there's another vicious swing. Nice catch by the center fielder. Sinking line drive. He robs the big man, Knight, of what would have been a multiple RBI. But 2 innings, or 2 runs, excuse me, in the inning. We're halfway through, and we got a 10-4 ball game. And CFD is just pounding the ball. So we take a little trip over here. Going to check in with George Bliss. I got 10-4, George. You?
It is 10-4, and our temporary ump has been fantastic. We have the chief of police is here, Mr. Waller, Fred Waller's here, and a bunch of other cool guys. So it's a wonderful event, that's for sure.
So that's George Bliss. We're going to head back to our perch. And leading off here, this is Hank, the third baseman. He's already got a triple in the ball game. And again, right now, Chicago Fire Department just pounding the ball. And there's a swing, and that's deflected off of Kelly. Scamacci will have to eat it. Leadoff man on. So I'm going to kind of back off here a little bit. I do tend to be a little loud. So Hank, another rocket for him, brings up Bojan, the extra hitter. And there's a swing and a rocket. Scamacci, great play, long throw in time. Da-da-da, da-da-da. That'll be on ESPN's Top 10. As Joe Scamacci snagged a hot one hopper right over the bag and then threw a strike.
Facebook or YouTube?
Facebook. So we got people asking us where the game is at. So Joe Scamacci robs Bojan, brings up Sweeney. Sweeney made the very heads-up play off the deflection last half inning. So again, they got a runner in scoring position here. If you're CPD, you got to start capitalizing. Line drive to Alonji over to the shortstop, double play. Mike Alonji following the ball made the double play. So there you go. That's a killer when you're trailing. And again, I think that's, you can tell when guys are really good softball players because they will follow the ball. And that's what Mike Alonji did. Even though he's playing shortstop, he sees a line drive toward the other part of the field. He knows there's a base runner, so he goes to the base. So here comes Guy, then Scamacci, and then Yapchuk. 10-4. CPD, after getting 4 in the first, has gone dry the last 3 innings, and we head to the top of the 5th. And again, a pretty good game defensively. Both teams doing a pretty good job. And Chicago Fire Department doing an excellent job. And there's a sky-high pop-up. Shortstop back a step or two, and McCann puts it away. So that'll bring up Scamacci. as CFD looking very good. I tell you, this team could win some tournament games. Again, we're just really pleased and honored that we were allowed to come out here and stream. And there's a little ground ball. As he whistles it, John looking at his hands, he can't believe he didn't make the catch. As Kamasi whistled it right past him. And he's laughing, talking to Joe. And I believe this might be a pinch hitter. On deck, we got Cannon. And there's a swing and a one. Oh, are you kidding me? No base. The shortstop, McCann, reached out with one hand, snagged it. Unfortunately, the throw pulled the first baseman off the bag. Safe. Here's Mike Cannon. And there's a high fly ball. Right fielder back by the fence. He catches it and he falls over the fence. Didn't make the catch. One run does score. What a catch. The right fielder caught the ball and fell over the temporary fencing. Did drive in a run. 2 outs. The runners did tag. Another run scores. Makes it 11-4. And the Chicago Fire Department has scored in every inning. They're going to appeal first. Umpire says no, and of course, very difficult for an umpire. He's trying to watch the catch in the outfield. So Cannon tried to go deep, and here's another line drive off the third baseman. Another run scores. And that looked like a pinch hitter for Jans. It brings up Kelly. Chicago Fire has scored in every inning. Kelly, a little flare foul. They've added 2 more. They lead 12-4, I believe. Looking over by George Bliss. We'll walk down there after this inning and we'll verify the score. 12-4? He's nodding yes. He's giving me the thumbs up. Nice. Gio's still got a few mat skills. So here's Kelly. Again, this has been relentless. And there's a high pop-up, and that'll be the 3rd out. But 2 more runs for the Chicago Fire Department. They extend their lead out. And we talk all the time about how in softball you want to impose your will on the other guy. And one way of doing that is to be relentless offensively. And that's what they've been. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 4 in the third, 2 in the fourth, and 2 in the fifth. We head to the bottom of the 5th. CPD in desperate need of some runs here. 2.
12-4.
So CPD now, they need to get rolling here. Here comes Angelo, as we're probably going to see a few pinch hitters, I would assume, for CPD for a couple of reasons. One, you're behind, so if you have good hitters, you want to get them in. And Angelo delivers. leadoff hit. Brian Koronkowski gets it in quickly. Leadoff single on the hard cut down the left field line. What's his name, Dave? Oh, is it? Okay. I'm all screwed up. So McKendry, Brian Koronkowski must be getting old. He couldn't chase that one down. Dave is laughing. He's like, what, Dave, 32? Yeah, right. So, of course, Brian's still lightning quick. We joke, but, you know, I'm 61. I don't know how old Dave is, but at our respective ages, everybody looks fast. So here's McKendry with the runner on. And he hits a little topper over to Alonji. Double play. So that was a good spin. 2 outs. And that's when you know it's not your day. You have the pinch hitter, he delivers, and then you roll into the double play, and that ball was hit right up the middle. It was an easy turn once the shortstop caught the ball cleanly. So here's Mike trying to get something going here with 2 outs. And there's a swing and a high fly ball. Brian Koronkowski about 6 feet in front of the temporary fence. So the fence is only 250, but we haven't seen anybody go yard yet.
So far, Alonji's player of the game.
So you heard it there. That's respect from a CPD guy coming out and saying he thinks Mike Alonji is the player of the game or the MVP. So we head to the top of the 6th. It's been all CFD. And they're going to be right at the top of the lineup with Brian Koronkowski. So here's Brian Koronkowski, 2 for 3 in the ball game, playing a very solid left field. And there's Mike Alonji on deck. Of course, Mike, terrific dude. And there's a swing and Brian, after they were cutting his first 3 times up, tried to catch White napping, but he stroked it foul. Brian tried to unload there, and he's capable of doing that. So here's Brian. Now he lays it on the long throw in time. That's nicely done there by the shortstop. And McCann, he knows Brian can run, so he didn't catch it stand up and throw. He took the ball in and literally threw it right off the carpet. So here's Mike Alonji, 3 for 3 in the ball game. And Mike tries to go deep. High fly ball, White near the screen, jumps, can't make the catch. He was right in front of the screen, and Mike Alonji slides in. So Alonji, couple of doubles, now he's got a triple. If he gets another at bat, well, he still needs a single and a homer for a cycle, but I wouldn't throw his day back. As he tried to go deep, just didn't quite have the distance, but White in front of the temporary fence jumped up and couldn't make the catch. So 1 out now, runner on third. And there's a line drive knocked down by John. I don't know if those were great reflexes or self-defense, but he made the play. So here comes Matt Jones now. 2 outs, runner at third. And there's a little spinner, foul out of play. And, you know, when you are up 12-4, it's not critical. I'm not sure if they're playing the 10-run mercy rule or not. But that would have been the 13th run at third, and it would have given you a 9-run cushion. And we are in the 6th. So far, they've dominated. And there's a high fly ball, and White can't make the catch. Alonji's going to score. That ball must have been doing something. It did sound like it got hit off the end of the bat, and the way White was approaching it might have been a little bit of a knuckleball. So 13-4 brings up Knight. So this has been a very tough ball game for CPD. And again, it's not an error issue. It's been just some good, solid hitting, as the Chicago Fire Department has scored in every inning of the ball game. And there's a long one, way back. Nobody getting that ball. 2-run bomb by Knight as it lands on the other diamond across from home plate. And that ball rolled all the way to the dugout opening down there. 2-run bomb, 3 runs in here. 15-4, Chicago Fire. And here's the problem. You don't want to follow that guy after he just hit one about 300. That ball was way out of here. 255 wasn't going to make a difference. We could have been on a 275 field. That ball would have been out. And again, he got a high pitch and he just laid into it. So I believe I'm looking at George Bliss, I believe it's 15-4 now. And George says correct. And there's a little ground ball. First baseman got out over his skis. Looked like the second baseman was in good position to make that play. First baseman dove and just knocked it into right field. And that'll bring up Scamacey. 15-4. Chicago Fire Department. They got beat by a large margin on, I believe it was Tuesday, in their annual baseball game. And there's a little flare. Hank couldn't get to it. And they certainly came loaded for bear today. So I guess when it comes to baseball this year, Chicago Police Department has those bragging rights. And there's a ground ball. McCann, long throw in time for the third out. But when it comes to what we really care about, 16-inch softball, it looks like CFD, if this lead holds, is going to corral those rights. So 3-run outburst makes it 15-4. And that ball was really hammered. After this ball game, George Bliss will be handling the post game. And that will include hopefully an interview with both managers and whoever the MVP may be. So, George, you can just take my stick and you can do it. You don't need to log in, brother. Just turn my camera on when the game is over. So here's John Catanzaro. I always have problems with that name for some reason. And John, who smoked a single, gave that a good ride, but not enough. So we're in the bottom of the 6th. 15-4. Chicago Fire. They've scored 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, 3. Meanwhile, CPD scored 4 in the first and has gone dry since. So here's the top of the lineup with Wilkerson. Takes that pitch a little deep. Again, if you're Mike Kelly, you just want to keep throwing strikes. Your defense has been great. Alonji, quick catch and throw. And Mike Alonji just putting on a show today. And I'd have to agree with Dave Tenza. If somebody else is the MVP, I think CPD is going to start an investigation. Because Mike Alonji will have been robbed. So here's Bacina. Of course, Mike with the circus team. They will be in Joliet for the men's major national championship tournament Labor Day weekend. And there's a line drive to center by Bacina, and it brings up McCann. So it's always interesting when we go to places like Kennedy Park doing this tournament here, and you see some of these guys, and there really are some good softball players that, you know, really don't play in what I call the structured softball, but they would certainly be capable of doing so if they chose to. And McCann swings, and he delivers right down the line. You see the big run, and Brian threw it all the way home. That did allow McCann to scoot in to second, brings up White. I think Brian wants to maintain this 10-run lead, but the runner at third scores, it's 15-5. It's still 10. And there's a fly ball. Brian makes the catch for out number 3. And that is 10 runs. I don't know if they're playing mercy rule or not. And apparently they are not, as we're going to head to the 7th. And I'm going to click off for a second, folks. I'll be right back. Oop. Okay, folks, we're back. We like to always let the coach know that they should start potentially thinking about an MVP. No disrespect to Chicago Fire Department, but it is 15-4. And there's a swing and a high fly ball. White drifts back. That'll be out number 1. Usually when you get a big lead like this, some of the bigger, stronger guys tend to want to try to launch and go deep. Mike Cannon tried it last time. Didn't quite have enough. Mike takes that pitch down. And Mike swings, you could tell he was trying to load up. He was trying to post up that back leg and really drive through, but the front shoulder flew open, and he hit a little roller foul. So now we're getting a nice breeze. Feels like it's blowing in from left field, or a cross breeze left to right. So a lot of the heat from today is gone. And now Mike sits back and he hits a rocket. Base hit. So Chicago Fire Department scored in every inning. We're in the 7th, and apparently they'd like to continue that trend. And there's a little foul off to my right. as Dave Tenzes come in relief for John. And there's a little reach out. McCann makes the play. Tried to get the double play, but to no avail. So the throw was a little wide. And there's a swing and a base hit in the center. Be runners on the corner now. And brings up the top of the lineup, Brian Korenkowski. And Brian gets his third hit. It's going to drive in the 16th run of the game. And first and third continues. Here's Alonji, 4 for 4 today. So he's got,
lose the MVP.
huh?
He can only lose the MVP right now.
Mike Kelly saying he can only lose the MVP. Meanwhile, it's 16-4. And now he tries to go the other way, and he's going to make his first out of the day. But 16-4, Fire Department did score again. They scored in every inning. They lead 16-4 as we head to the bottom of the 7th. And Mike Alonji just has been spectacular. We'll try to zoom in if we can. Well, I don't know if this is zooming or not, is it? Let's see if we can get in a little tighter. Again, new system. See Mike Alonji with the white shorts over there. He's had a magnificent ball game. So here comes Hank. Then it'll be Bojan and Sweeney, unless we see some base runners. And there's a swing and a long one. It's going to stay in the park. Right fielder Mike Cannon runs over and makes the play. Yeah, we saw them at the first responder tournament out in that Frank Genkiel and Joey Agardo put together at Hiawatha last year. And the Blue Knights were out there, and their version of their softball team was out there. They had 2 teams in that event. And we actually televised that game since it was a first responder tournament. And there's a walk. Kelly doesn't look too happy with himself. So here's Sweeney. There's a rocket knuckleball. Brian Korenkowski can't make the catch. And that ball was dancing all the way. And Brian was a little tentative, kind of reached out tentatively. And the ball went off his fingertips. Base runner had to wait to see what was going to happen. And there's an overhand cut, and that's going to drop, throw to third, a little too tall, and it goes into the dugout. That is going to score 1 run. 16-5, now 16-6. So he gives them 2 bases. Now he's going to send them back to third. Usually it's from the base that you've established. The umpire feels that when the throw left the hand, that you hadn't reached a base, And that'll be out number 2. 16-6. Second run of the inning, I believe. Two outs. FOP scored a pair here, a little too late. Getting their offense in gear. And there's a swing and a bullet. Another run's going to score as they cut it to 16-7. So CPD trying to rally here. Late, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. Runner on, and here's Dave Tenza, his first at-bat today. And Dave swings, and he hits a flare into center. The Chicago Police Department hacking away here. 16-7 ball game. Brings up the top of their lineup with Wilkerson. And there's a base hit. And now takes a big hop. Koronkowski gets it in. Bases are loaded. So 16-7. CPD trying to furiously come back. Here's Bacina. It's funny how all of a sudden you get to the 7th, and there's a ground ball. They'll go to shortway, and that should do it. So Chicago Fire Department wins the ball game 16-. George, you got to switch to my camera. Switch to my camera. No, it's not on. Okay, now it is, George. Now it is. So we're going to switch over for the post game. Okay. Okay, now you can come on out. So George Bliss is going to take over in the post game. And it's going to be, we need to get pictures. So CPD on fire, George.
Yeah.
So take it away, bud.
So George Bliss here with the post-game interview. We're going to go over here, and we're going to see our fire department guys. I'll get them in the dugout. CPD, come on out for home plate for a quick photo, please. A quick photo, please, at home plate. Hey, guys, quick photo. Real quick. Great softball tonight. CPD, some familiar faces there. Mike Alonji, there's Scamacey. We see Chippy here. Some other firemen. All right. Okay, there's a still frame right there. I got it going. Where's Mike? So Gio there is presenting the trophy. We have 2 trophies here. Great effort. 16-7. We're gonna take a still picture over here, guys, and then you'll get the plaque, right, Gio?
Yeah.
So we're having just a fine time here out at beautiful Armour Square Park. George Bliss here, SSA Broadcasts. And here comes, okay guys, right after this we're going to name the MVP as soon as we take the picture of the blue team. Yeah, we could do that. So John Catanzara has said we'll go with a group picture, which is a cool thing. It's a wonderful night. Commander Waller was here. Chief of Police Waller was here. My good friend Ray Lopez was here. Boy, a lot of nice people from the Chicago Police and Fire Department. There's your group picture right there. We hope you enjoyed this broadcast. SSA broadcast. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you ready? I'm going to make the announcement. Okay, folks, hold on. Yeah. There you go. There's the coach. We're going to get a group picture here. Just get in there. There you go. You can take it. So George Bliss here, SSA Broadcast, John Catanzara. I want to thank him for inviting us. They couldn't get enough offense today as they fall to Fire 16-7. There's Gio from SSA. All the other guys taking pictures. We're having a lot of fun. Gio, I'm going to give the name and you present it to Mike. Okay, I'll do it right now. Yeah. Okay, the MVP, ladies and gentlemen, over here, none other than that good-looking guy, Mike Alonji. Mike, here's Mike. Now, Mike, this is more fun than the Forest Park thing where you were MVP 7 years ago.
This is good. Yeah, this is good.
How's it going on the fire department so far?
Oh, it's great. It's great. Thanks for Mike setting this up. Thanks for the cops. Tenza here, legend.
Hey, MVP buys the first round at the bar.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dave Tenza says, Mike, you got to buy it.
Yeah. No, everything's been good.
Well, we'll see you out in the field. Thank you for coming today. It's a wonderful event.
You guys.
Yeah, that's the great Mike Alonji, captain. Great job, buddy. You did a pretty good job pitching.
Thank you. I only walked a couple guys, so it wasn't too bad. I didn't lose the zone like I think you said back when I was pitching at Forest Park. So that's all right. It was a good day.
They're on their way to Cork and Kerry, okay? And we'll try to get John Kittens here before we sign out. There's the great one. There's Mike Alonji. We got him get here on SSA Broadcast. Thank you for watching, everybody. Yeah, we'll see you, Mike. Yep. John, not today, but we have a wonderful event. Wonderful event.
Well, you know, everybody loves the firemen, so we didn't want to break their spirit by ruining it, so we had to let them win a little bit, you know. Mike Kelly, he got his butt kicked in Springfield by the Senate, so we had to be nice and let them win there too. So, you know, it is what it is.
We got one more game maybe next year, right?
Oh, we're going to keep doing this. This was good time. Fortunately, we didn't hit much after the first inning, but they came stacked. They hit the ball really well. They got a great team, but we can match them.
Let's go have a little party.
I agree.
That's President John Catanzara, leader of FOP7.
To Al Capone and all the little Capones out there.
Yeah. John Catanzara, George Bliss. Thank you for listening, everybody. Until then, we'll sign off and play softball. It's the greatest game in America. Gio, sign us off, brother.
Okay, we're glad you joined us for the broadcast. Good job, George.
All right.